To this evening's chat. Very excited to welcome you all, given that this is one of those unique evenings where members of the three cohorts of ISDM are together to interact with all of you. So welcome once again. Without much ado, we'll get started. My name is Priyanka. I'm your host for the evening. I was an ISDM alum from the first batch and currently work with ISDN. I request all the panelists to introduce themselves one by one. Just talk about your cohort, what do you do currently, and why did you join ISDN? Let's start with you, Shreya.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Shreya Bhatia, and I was part of ISDM for the batch of 2018-19. And currently, I co-founded an organization called Those in Need, and I'm working with the same. And my why of ISDM was knowing more about the development sector before, jumping full time into it, knowing what does it take to be in the sector. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Shreya. Alika?
Hi, everyone. I'm Alika, and I was part of the founding batch at ISDM. So that was 17-18. I currently work in consulting in New Delhi, and I continue in the sector, but I was really trying to find that perfect fit for myself. And I think the one-year program at ISDM gave me this 360-degree view of the whole social sector, and I was able to find a unique place for myself. So happy to speak more about this today. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Alika. Monica?
Hello everyone. So my name is Monica and I was Shreya's batchmate. We were in the second cohort 2018-19 and currently I'm working with an organization called Janagra Center for Citizenship and Democracy. So we look after urban governance basically, and my domain right now is municipal finance, wherein we work with state government, central government and the local governments to bring about changes with respect to quality of city life. So yeah, and why I joined ISDM was because I was a civil service aspirant stuck in a corporate banking job. And after some point of time when the civil service thing did not happen, so I started looking for other options. And like Shreya also mentioned, before jumping into the development sector with a job, like going for a job switch, going through a program, knowing more about the development sector, exploring my role seemed like a better option. So yeah, that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. Let's hear from Himshika.
Hi, everyone. I'm Himshika. I was a corporate lawyer for 2.5 years, and then I joined ISDM. So my reason behind joining ISDM was basically I wanted to switch from the corporate sector to the developmental sector. And rather than jumping into a job directly, I wanted to equip myself. And that was the reason I joined ISDM. I'm also part of the placement committee right now. So I'd like to talk more about it, my experience in past 11 months. So that's all.
Thank you, Himshika. Jilmin?
Hello, everyone. My name is Jilmin, and I'm currently a student at ISDM. Previously, before this, I was working with Teach for India for 4 years. And my why was very much about because working in Teach for India really gave me a good ground reality experience. But at a point, I really felt limited with my own skill sets. So that's where I really found the course structure to be a perfect fit here. Thank you.
Thank you, Jilmin. Sarvesh?
Hi everyone, my name is Sarvesh Deshpande. I'm an engineer turned development professional right now. I work in Oxfam India. Oxfam is an organization which works towards against injustice, discrimination, and equality all over the world. Why I joined ISDM is I had around 3.5 years of experience before joining ISDM. I used to work with Greenpeace India and Oxfam India earlier, and I was really struggling with the question of why, what, and how things work really in the development sector. And all of you might be knowing that the sector is so vast and there are a lot of problems that are coming up, and how you really want to change those things for the better. I really struggle with the things which are coming up, and I think ISDM is a institute which was going to solve all my problem, and the expectations which I was looking for from the management perspective, and also the exposure that it was going to give me from the social sector and from the ground work was amazing, and that's the reason I chose ISDM. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarvesh. David?
Hey guys, I'm David. So I joined the ISDM in the 2017-18 batch, and since then I joined the Vazwani Foundation, and I'm doing monitoring and evaluation over there. So I remember I met Gaurav and Ravi, who are the founders of ISDM, on the founding team in towards the end of 2016. And when I just through interacting with them, I always wanted to work in the development sector, but the specific reason why I chose ISDM was mainly two things: the vision and mission with which they set it up as an organization, and as a training institute, and then secondly also just for the values and the kind of people that it brought in. So I think my experience there was really helpful, and yeah.
Thank you, David. Teja?
Hello everyone, my name is Teja. Like Sarvesh, I'm an engineer. I have worked for 7.5 years with TCS before joining ISDM. I have predominantly worked in project management with several banking clients. So the reason I joined ISDM is it's a good amalgamation of both theoretical and practical aspects that one requires to be part of the development sector. And also, it doesn't cater to any one particular sector. It broadly looks at the function of management for the development sector.
Great. Thank you, Teja. We also have ISDM team members here and would request them to introduce themselves. So, Adil, could you introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, thanks, Priyanka. Hi, my name is Adil, and I work with the admissions and communication team at ISDM. Most of you, I must have interacted with you all at some point of time or the other. So, yeah, I've worked with a lot of educational institutions like the Ashoka University, the Vedika Scholars Program for Women, and now been here for about 3 years at ISDM. So great to see we're building this new batch brick by brick, and good to see these change makers. I was just talking to them yesterday on the group that we have that nobody ever changed the world by sitting on the sidelines and taking the easy route. So I'm really in awe of these people who, despite these situations, have really taken the plunge, and I'm sure this 1 year is going to be an amazing experience for all of you. So yeah, I'm excited to listen to all our alumni and students, and also listen to you during the question answer sessions.
Thank you, Adil. Nitisha?
Hello, hi everyone. My name is Nitisha, and I'm currently working in the fundraising team at ISDM. My why of joining ISDM was for two reasons. Similar to what Jilmil shared, I was working with Teach for India in the staff team and recruited Teach for India fellows, and I was feeling very limited in my skill set and wanted to know more about what the development sector had to offer. So that was one of the primary reasons. And the secondary was because the curriculum and course seemed really unique and exciting. The focus, it seemed very new and out of the box thinking. So the pedagogy and curriculum were the second reason for me to join ISDM.
Thank you, Nitisha. Gaurav?
Sorry, this is for y'all. I'm just here. Listen.
You can introduce yourself.
Okay, very quickly. Hi, I'm Gaurav, part of the founding team at ISDM. It was just a pleasure being here. I'm a fly on the wall, just here to listen to all of you all. Go ahead.
Thank you, Gaurav. Okay, great. Thank you, everyone, for introducing yourselves. For all the participants who are here, we just spent next couple of minutes listening to our alumni stories, our student stories, and what has been their experience with the program. We'll also hear some fun, crazy things they've done at ISDM, some memories that they cherish. And we'll spend last 15-20 minutes just hearing your questions. So I'd request all of y'all, the participants, keep putting in your questions in the Q&A window in the bottom of your screens, and we'll take them all up towards a set of experiences. Our program has evolved. Anybody can start off. Or I'd have to cold call.
Voluntold, Priyanka, as we do at ISDM.
Yeah, I guess. Alika, go for it.
Okay, so I really want to just focus on two things. There's so much to talk about, even though it was a one-year program, but I think the two things that I would want to speak about today or share with you, and please feel free because everyone has their own experience. One of them was Realizing India, which is a two-week immersive program in a district in rural India. And that's really where, you know, your problem building team, at least for us, came together and we went into a district. So for me, it was Alwar in Rajasthan. And over there, we spent 2 weeks figuring out everything for ourselves and trying to understand really the problems being faced by the local people over there, what the average life looks like over there. And really, we came back with experiences and issues, you know, speaking with farmers, speaking with government officials, everyone. And that's when we built the whole the whole organization that we decided. We picked up the problem of water scarcity and, you know, how they need to how farmers should conserve water and yet be able to get the kind of crop and yield that they want to get and stuff. And we built a whole organization around this. And then that's where the whole ISDM learnings of, you know, coming to a theory of change, a vision, mission, and building an organization really came into play. And we actually did that. It was as good as, you know, doing that in real life. So the whole simulation exercise was really useful. And for many of my batchmates who went on to, you know, co-found and start their own organizations, I think that was a super helpful exercise. And for me, even now when I work with clients, I work at a consulting firm now, but the first thing I do is kind of identify, oh, what is this particular client's vision, mission, you know, what is their theory of change? And I think that's where the whole ISDM journey has really, really been so meaningful and so has just like opened up so many avenues for me to understand an organization from a very different perspective. So that's one of the things, that's Realizing India, which was a 2-week immersive program. And the second thing was really the course and of course the faculty. So ISDM brings together, we have a lot of visiting faculty. We bring together like, I think people from all spaces in the development sector. So people who founded organizations, people at intermediary, at consulting firms, people at government level who are creating systemic change, as well as researchers and people from academic institutes. So I think it's really about putting that whole and getting that whole 360-degree perspective. I think the best thing was we didn't really hear only stories of success and how, you know, people have impacted so many people, but we also heard from a few of like the founders and stuff really about times when they've had setbacks, when they've had failures. And I think the learnings that came out of even those experiences have really helped all of us in the sector when we work now to kind of confront changes, challenges. Even if you look at the world today, something like COVID, you know, how do you adapt? How do you take into your stride? How do you continue to make impact? How do you continue to, like, you know, ride the wave? Because things like this are going to keep happening. So I think it was really great to hear from such inspiring leaders and from a host of people. And that's where the faculty and the network that, you know, we've been presented now. And as the years go by with more alumni, more students joining this ISDM family, the network is only getting much, much larger. So I really feel fortunate to have been a part of this one-year program and to be a part of this ISDM family, which is growing. So that's what I wanted to share. And I'll be happy to, of course, hear from everyone else and take questions later.
Great. Thank you, Alika. Let's hear from you, David.
Yeah, so I think one of the things that really impacted me at ISDM was RI. And the reason why I say that is I come from a very urban background. And sometimes when you live in very big cities, you kind of have an idea of what things are like, but you never actually put your feet on the ground to see what it's like. And when I went to RI, that's one of the things that really impacted me the most. I really like it opened my eyes to many things and it helped me develop empathy. Um, and it gave me a lot of passion now when I do things like monitoring and evaluation. I don't just look at it as numbers, but I look at it as people and actual impact. So yeah, it's it's something that hit me.
Great. Thank you, David. Shreya, you want to share?
Yeah, so I also want to talk about one, realizing India, and second, about the group work that we all will have to do the whole year. So realizing India was just the start of it. A group of like 10 people go into the field. I don't know what number will be this year, but go to the field, observe everything from government officials to people on ground to school principals to government schools and private schools, for example. And you have to observe without judging, or maybe make false promises to people that yeah, we are here to solve your problems. No, but we're just doing a transit walk, observing how the things go. And I myself, I'm from New Delhi. I've been born and brought up from in Delhi only, so I never had that experience for like 14 days that we'd gone there. And the best part about it was a group of 10 people doing everything together and then discussing after coming back to ISDM after 14 days. We used to discuss about how do we identify one issue that was the most we could see there. For example, in the district that you go. So, how do we identify? Now, what do we do about it? So, the course has some tools and different structures which help you decide which issue was there, and how do you go about solving those problems, what terminologies do you use, what words do you use, how do you convey your message. And I had co-founded an organization before coming to ISDM. So how do we register an organization, what all documentation is required. So these all things really helped me a lot. And obviously when you're in a group, you have to make decisions. How do you go with your group mates when even if you don't agree to what they're saying. So I really learned about empathy, group work, and obviously going where the ship was going, even if I didn't agree to it. But yeah, it helps. Yeah, and I'm now ready to take questions on if you have related to realizing in your group work. Thank you.
Thank you, Shreya. Let's hear from Teja.
I feel this will be redundant, but yeah, still I also wanted to mention RI, but since all the others have spoken so much about rural immersion, it was more or less a similar experience for our group as well. But also apart from that, the committees that I was part of in ISDM, both the placement committee and the environment club, and the activities that we have done along with the students and staff across a period of 7 to 8 months up until the pandemic has started. It was amazing because we have actually got a chance to rather than to whatever we have learned in both placement committee and also utilize our skills and theoretical aspects that we were taught. I believe Himshika would speak about this more in the later part. Thank you.
Thanks, Teja. I think Priyanka's had a bit of a power cut. But yeah, why, Monica, could you share next what you would like to tell our participants here?
Yeah, sure. So since everybody has mentioned RI, I won't go for that again. Another important space for me during the entire ISDM journey was definitely the Monday morning.
Thank you, Teja. Let's hear from you, Himshika.
So, hello.
Monica, you can. Sorry, Priyanka, I think we had a power cut. So can Monica do it and then Himshika will go, right?
Sure. Yeah, I'll continue then.
Yeah, Monica.
Yeah, so as I was saying, the Monday morning plenaries, because it gave us a chance to stop back and reflect on what the previous week meant for all of us. And a lot of the times, because so many ideas were coming across and there were so many new concepts introduced to us every day, it was really useful to just go back and take a break and think about what these things meant. And how more often than not, when we spoke about the confusions we had, the things we did not understand, the things we connected with, within the cohort itself we could find so many people having the similar notions about different things, and even the diversity in that matter, not just the similarity but both of them, and that kind of also connected us. More importantly, for the idea of taking a break and reflecting back, I feel like even in the world today, if you look at many of the policies, many of the solutions that are introduced, it's in a very haphazard manner. Like we are almost every day trying to achieve something, but nobody is ready to take a pause, go back and look at where we went wrong. So I think that's a very important concept when you're trying to impact people's lives. So yeah, that was a big deal for me. Thank you.
Thanks, Monica. So Himshika, yeah, we'd really like to hear from you about your experience.
Yeah, thanks, Adil. So continuing what Monica also mentioned about the plenary in Monday morning. So that was a really important part of the entire ISDM journey. Like after having classes for 1 week, we used to sit in the Monday morning plenary and we used to see a lot of things that we like, the perspective of the batch used to come out in front of the whole cohort. And that used to be an eye opener for a lot of topic that we discussed in the last week. But I'd also like to talk about the placement committee experience. I was part of the placement committee this year. So being part of the placement committee was one of the most wonderful experience for me during the ISDM journey. It was a major learning opportunity for me to practice whatever we're learning during the class. It was the placement committee work involves a lot of stakeholder relationship building and networking and all that. So it was a major learning for me. And it was also a great opportunity to see the diversity of the sector, because our course also involves different kind of organization, organizational structures and functions that are part of our course. So it was a practice ground for me during the placement committee. But the most important part of being a placement committee was knowing the batch. Diversity is a very key ingredient of ISDM. We have people from different background, from different geographies, and during the placement committee, I could interact with everyone, knowing their demand, like what kind of roles they are looking for, what kind of capabilities they hold. And that was a big opportunity for me to learn about the cohort more. So it was really fun. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Himshika. Thank you very much. So I think now Jilmil should talk. And I think Jilmil, I must tell you all, she was very actively involved in all the fun parts at ISDM. So she was really actively involved in all the clubs, festivals, on the cultural committees and the cultural programs we had at ISDM. So Jilmal, tell us something about that experience.
Yeah, I think that was like the part that I really wanted to take. I think that's the fun part, which is actually the life at ISDM. So we celebrate anything and everything. And I guess at least our batch, ISDM students, never really needed an occasion to just take off our tiredness with some guitar sessions on the terrace or just dance on some crazy music after the classes. While the two most important celebrations for ISDM has been about the Development Management Week and the Foundation Day. And I guess overall, I think the best part about the entire event bit is that if you really want to initiate something, you'll always be encouraged. And definitely after 6 p.m., because till 6 p.m. the calendar is packed. But I guess that space is there where your interest can always be sort of nurtured with a lot of participation. We had various kinds of events like Sports Week, Freshers Party, all kinds of festivals, movie screening, and I don't know which college will ever really host Sacred Games on 15th August, but we really did that. It was one of the best moments at ISDM. And also then we have SAC, Student Affairs Committee, which really takes care of the student engagement at every level. Then also we have another sort of like a structure, which is like a hot conversation, which is an honest, open, and two-way communication. So if at times cohort feels that, okay, they need to have this hot conversation with the academics or vice versa, or even if the cohort wants to have a hot conversation among themselves, they can call for a hot conversation as well. So, I mean, obviously there'll be a much more to talk about, probably more people can add, but I think, yeah, this was to share.
Great. Thank you, Jilmal. Let's hear from Monica. Sorry, I had a power cut, so missed a little bit.
Priyanka, Monica spoke while you were away.
Okay, great.
So, yeah.
Have you missed out on anyone?
We've missed out on Sampath.
Sampath.
Yeah, hi. This is Sampath. So I couldn't be on the first page. So so I, so I, what's really special about Posh in ISDM is it also not only the team or in ISDM, but it also extends to the students. From the students, so we only not just look about sexual harassment, but layers having a close group, circle of strength. So, a lot of activities had been so
Seems like Sampath has a technical problem.
Yeah.
Sampath, is it possible for you to repeat what you said or just put for us in the chat? People would love to hear from you.
Sampath, probably you can turn off the camera and try to speak if it's consuming more bandwidth.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm just putting it on the chat. Yeah, actually, I had a network issue. Sorry.
We can hear you, Sampath. It's better now.
All right. Yeah. So ISDM and Posh is more exclusive because it also extends for the students itself, where representatives from the students will be elected, and so it seriously looks at the circle of strength where students themselves listen to their own stories, create and build, sort of circle of strength for being for each other, and also it has a zero tolerance policy for sexual harassment or any kind of bullying. So that's very crucial part, and a whole lot of sensitivity activities, workshops, like a lot of other things will be done. The individual journey of every student or the team will be taken, and activities and workshops will be planned. So that the sort of things we have done, we could do in this entire year also. And being a Posh member is very I mean, like very challenging at times. And it's activities and workshops will be we could do in this entire year also. I mean, challenging at times, and it's good to be part of this committee.
Great. Thank you, Sampath. Adil, Nitisha, would you like to add anything to this before we move on to the next section?
So I could actually add to what Sampath was saying, because I was also part of that committee on prevention of sexual harassment, and this is something that we take very seriously at ISDM. And there were 3 senior staff members and 3 students that formed the committee. What I would like to mention here is the amount of effort and the amount of detail that went into drafting those rules, drafting those norms, getting those posters printed that you will see all over campus. And and then touchwood, we didn't have to deal with any cases as such, but the sensitivity with which we would plan to deal with in case if it would come up. So I think that goes a long way in talking about the culture that has been built at ISDM, and some things that are sacrosanct, and zero tolerance towards such sexual harassment is one of those sacrosanct things at ISDM, and I just wanted to stress on that.
Thank you, Adil. Okay, great. Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing your experiences with the program. Would also love to hear some fun moments, funny moments, crazy things you did at ISDM, at the hostel. Anything. Would love few of you to share. Nitisha, why don't you get us started?
Okay. One of my most fun moments at ISDM was just figuring out snacks in between classes. I know we had 2 tea breaks the entire day, and we were always on the edge when the session is gonna get over, and where do we go and find tea? How do we convince the tea bhaiya to come and give us tea on the terrace? And I think the chai pe charcha on the terrace was just one of my most favorite memories. I've had such intense conversations there, and some very weird ones too. So I just love the terrace at ISDM. We've had a lot of memories there.
Thank you, Nitisha. Would
I think I'm going to join in to say
yes,
that
Alika.
That terrace, that sunset, and the ISDM sign over there, I think that's like I think that's that one picture that we all would have as our favorite memories from ISDM, the times we spent on that terrace. The million chai breaks, samosa breaks, and of course playing sports. So we started this frisbee club, and competitive frisbee is something that I've never played. I mean, for me, it was always just like, throwing it around and stuff, but we actually started a competitive like frisbee club. So we would go and play in a park nearby college after classes on the weekend sometimes, and it was super, super fun. So we learned the entire rules to a new game, and it was like a sport that none of us had played before at this level. So it was super fun. I remember this one time we had like movie night, and of course the eternal fight for bean bags and in class to sit and lounge and to get popcorn and watch a movie, which was super fun. I think our drive over, I don't know, Priyanka, Nitisha would obviously remember, David as well. We went to Akshay Patra and Mathura, and we had to leave because they cook meals there for, to provide to school super early in the morning. So we had an all-nighter. We went there at we were in the kitchen. It was freezing cold. We were there super early in the morning, drove there, got lunch there, watched how the meals are prepared, how they're distributed, the entire value chain, how they come to the schools, how kids are served. And of course, we got back the next day as well, within the same day. So that was super fun. I remember this one day I learned how from one of my batchmates, of course, Rupesh, how to tie a lungi, and I wore it the entire day because I had 1,000 questions on would it fall off, would it not fall off? And I ended up wearing it an entire day in class. So I think just the whole, everyone coming together, everyone sharing their own experiences, their own cultures, eating together every day. I mean, I think we had every cuisine probably in our community lunches, and no matter how little, how much, we would all share, all enjoy it, all of course offer our valuable and criticism and ways of improving the dish and our own recipes. But I think the community we built at ISDM, I think that's one of the strongest takeaways from there. And I definitely think it's super fun, even if you don't live at the hostel. So I didn't live at the hostel, but the evenings we spent there, everyone together, one person on the guitar, just enjoying each other's company. I think it made it a super, super fun and memorable year.
Great.
Thank you so much,
Alika, since we are speaking about hostels, there are a lot of questions that are coming up on the Q&A about hostels. While we do not have our own hostel, but we've tied up with hostels that are nearby, and we have ensured, especially in times of COVID, that these are hostels that are observing all standard operating procedures for the safety of our students. However, I would just request if any of our panelists have stayed in hostels, if anybody would like to share their experience of the hostel life there, maybe Jilmil or Himshika.
Yeah, I'll actually share. Himshika did not stay in hostel.
Yeah, I didn't stay in hostel.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So I was staying in Lotus, which is like walking distance from ISDM. So my experience was pretty good. because I guess in Noida, one of the biggest apprehensions my parents had was the safety bit. But I guess the security that Lotus Hostel was able to provide was really good. And just like the regular facilities of food and like everything was there, gym was there, and then a lot of sports equipments were there. So overall, I had a very good experience with Lotus, and all the more I think it was good because we just had to walk to ISDM, so we didn't have to like take any transportation or anything to sort of travel to ISDM. We could just walk. So pretty much it was a great experience with Lotus.
Great, thank you, Jamal. I think I just resonate what Alika was saying. It brought back so many beautiful memories. And sometimes you just forget these things in the rut of life, but I could just keep smiling when Alika was talking about all those things. So thank you, Alika. Couple of others, fun, crazy things that you did at campus.
Yes, I'll share. We are three from our batch, the second batch, Sarvesh, Monica, and I. So our batch was named as the Samosa batch. So because each and every other day we used to buy samosas and go to the terrace, because some days it's raining, some days it's like the session has got cancelled, some days it's the movie night. So we were really fond of samosas. So everybody used to call us the Samosa batch. And secondly, she was saying we used to, terrace memories, we used to play cricket a lot. So sometimes the faculty used to say that people are missing, they're coming back from the tea break, and then when one person used to go, the faculty used to send, please call everybody from downstairs or upstairs, the break is over, and you'll see people including me playing cricket with the food plates. So you still get, the food was served from our hostel in the second batch. So playing cricket all day, I mean, like 1 hour, 2 hour between the sessions on the terrace. And the third memory that I could remember was when our groups were divided. So, we had to fight for the rooms. Which room will my group take? It should have the maximum number of bean bags, good sunlight, big board, or ventilation hona chahiye, and all those things. I can still remember we ran like anything, and most importantly, the room should be away from the faculty, because they keep on coming, checking whether you are eating or working, because at our year, eating wasn't also allowed inside, the rooms. So, we used to take the room farthest from the faculty, but my group's room was the next room from Suparna's or the other faculty members. That's the memory that I could share.
Thanks, Shreya. There were some secrets spilled out there. Great. Anybody else? Maybe one more, and then we can move to the Q&A.
Yeah, Priyanka, I'd like to talk about the clubs we had.
Sure, Himsika. Sure.
Yeah, this was a new thing for the third.
Well, I think I would like to request the coming batch to get the clothes.
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the clubs were a new thing for our batch. So we had multiple clubs going on, and clubs were like the most fun part during last 11 months. We had movie clubs, and like Jilmal mentioned, we used to do binge watching of different series. Like, we did binge watching of Sacred Games, and for 3-4 hours we're just inside Majlis in our bean bags, and the lights were off, and it was really fun. And then we had Sports Week also, that was organized by Jilmal. She was part of the sports club. During the Sports Week, you will see everyone inside Guftagu, just being there, not wanting to go back to classes. And literally Nagma, Janvi used to have to come back to Guftagu and be like, faculty is there, just go back. And we had environmental club. Environmental club was really fun. We did a lot of activities like swapathon. We got our materials to college, and we exchanged with each other. So it was like really fun seeing what earrings the other person is bringing, and what kind of t-shirt I can give to the other person, and diaries, notebooks. So we used to get personalized things for other people as well. So that was really that was most fun memory for me from ISDM.
Great, thank you, Himshika. Now we'll move on to the Q&A. There are already a couple of questions right here, and would request the participants to keep posting their questions. Meanwhile, there's a question on people are aware that the current batch learning has gotten affected. The classes have gotten affected because of COVID. So has there been an effect on placement? So would Nitish or Adil like to take this question?
Yeah, sure. So definitely the batch has been affected by COVID, and the placements too have been affected by COVID. There is no doubt about this. But having said that, we have still been able to place a lot of students. A, B, we must understand one thing, that the support, especially the placement support or otherwise, is not just for that 1 year of your stay at ISDM. The support is lifelong. So the position where ISDM stands right now is very clear, that right now there are a lot of organizations that have a hiring freeze, but they have come to us saying that as soon as the hiring freeze is over, we are going to get in touch for hiring people from ISDM, and these are organizations that have been hiring us from us from the past 2 years, right? So the support is there, and our stand is just that as soon as things improve, we will do everything in our power to see that this batch gets placed as soon as possible. So I think we have Jilmil also here, and even Teja is here from the current placement committee. So I think they will give you a much better picture and the ground situation as it is right now. So Jilmil, Teja, you want to add to this?
Yeah, I completely agree with.
Actually, Himshika is the placement committee member.
Yes, Himshika.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad.
I completely agree with what Adil has said. So there were hiccups in the current academic year because of the ongoing pandemic, but still we had multiple pre-placement offers from several organizations, and then also we have placed students in ISDM. But then like he was saying, the placement process would be ongoing, and we would be receiving job roles as and when ISGM requires from any of its partner organization. So there's no end to this process.
Great, thank you, Adil and Teja. Since Adil had mentioned earlier, there was a question on hostels and Jilmil shared her experience. I'll also very briefly just talk about my own experience of staying at the hostel. So in the first year, we didn't have any seniors, etc., to guide us through the process of staying in Noida. And as Jilmil mentioned, safety was a key issue. I was going to stay in a paying guest, which didn't work out, and I ended up taking a hostel nearby campus. It's called Mural. Uh, I wouldn't talk about the hostel particularly, but just the experience of being at the hostel. I think it just enriched my journey at ISTM overall, because I was just staying with so many more people and spending much more time with the students outside of just being on the campus. So my learning enriched through that experience, and people are just encouraged to kind of stay together, stay at the hostel in terms of safety, in terms of kind of increasing your learning and just having a lot more fun. So if people have particular questions about hostels still, please post in. Um, there's a question around realizing India, and many of you did talk about it. So the question is that, does it only involve observation, or does it also let the team develop a plan of action to work on the social issues of the field? Anybody would like to take this question?
So the academic year has been divided into 8 terms, and the part where we go to realizing India falls under term 3, which is for around 2 weeks. Before going into the field for 2 weeks, we will be doing secondary research in ISGM through the entirety of term 2, which is a period of around 4 to 5 weeks. Having built our understanding around secondary research, we would go into the field and see the issues firsthand, so that we'll juxtapose both secondary and primary research to understand whether the issues that we have seen are actually existing and what other issues exist. And once we come back, term 4, which would be again for a period of 4 to 5 weeks, we would utilize it to develop a intervention as a group, picking one particular issue from the location that we have visited. So, like the question has been asked, it's not only theoretical part. We would get a detailed understanding of several issues in that particular location, and we would develop an intervention for one particular issue in that location.
Also, just to add, Teja, So while we experience the field uh, in this like 10 days or like any precise days, after that we'll be holistically looking at the design part, like what exactly the intervention it should be. It's pretty much about doing everything on boards before getting onto the field, and taking more care about the communities or like the stakeholders we are involved with.
Thank you, Teja and Sampath. Nitisha, would you like to add as to how RI and the experience post that would look a little different for people coming in this year?
Right. So with respect to the mode, so from the first year to the fourth year now, which will start on in July 2020, the course has also evolved a lot based on the feedback from the students and the faculty and the placement organizations. Right. So the course definitely has shifted a lot. With respect to how the mode is going to change, the principle is still going to be the same, where we learn in the classroom, we look at theory, and we do practice it. However, in the first year, like Alika had mentioned initially, where we were talking about creating or building an organization, to the third year and fourth year, we are looking more of a case study format that Harvard follows, where groups of students are assigned particular case studies from the social impact space, and then the design of the program and the intervention happens through the case studies. So the context-based learning and the personal mastery both are inculcated through the case study medium and the caselets, some of which are going to be taken from international and national universities. Also, ISDM itself is designing a few case studies for particular batches. So we are going to also be using that mode.
Great, thank you, Nitisha. There's a question on what time does the college start and what time does it end?
Never.
I can see some smiles. Monica, do you want to just respond to that? You're on mute, Monica.
Yeah. So about the starting and ending, starting for us at least, it was strictly at 9 o'clock. Suparna used to be at the door all the time, every morning. Ending, it really depends upon your work, I would say, your group work, and what sort of time structure you make for yourself, because really that much of independence is given to you. So I would really say it depends upon the work. If you're asking my own personal experience, it used to extend till 9, 10 sometimes. Sometimes you used to get done early also, just take a break. And yeah, so it really depends. There's no strict, like, it's not a 9 to 5 things. I would tell that very frankly. So yeah.
Go for it, Sampath.
Yeah. So like talking like so for our batch also it was 9 o'clock, but like there's so many times that our group ended like it was just after so we sat for like 12 in the night, and after that also sometimes. So but it actually depends on the group and all, but yeah, it strictly starts at 9:30.
Great, thank you.
I would say the scheduled sessions with faculty members are pretty much on time, and there are fixed hours, of course. Outside of that, your group work and your own learning and reflection and meaning making, of course, as much as you want to use the library facilities, would always be, I mean, a little flexible, because there may be days where you spend more time. There may be days where discussions, get over slightly sooner. And of course, those spaces. But of course, ISDM also has ways in which you can influence the timings. I mean, if you want to have a discussion, the thing is, there is just, I mean, while there are rules and there are ways, there's so many spaces and so many safe spaces to have discussions over the merits and the demerits of following a particular system. So of course, even whether it's timings and, things getting over at a particular time, starting at a particular time, there's always ways and means to have discussions around it and understand why it's a certain way. And I think that is what is so unique at ISDM. So yeah, there are discussions sometimes that go on a very long, like whether you should, just simple things around having, a Saturday off, having, using your surname or not using your surname. And I know so many discussions that we've all had in the first batch, the founding batch. So I know things are probably very different now, 2-3 years later, 3-4 years later. But I think just having that safe space where you can be heard and you can say things, of course, being empathetic, understanding everyone around you, getting really diverse perspectives, because I myself went in thinking so many things about, ways you look at your surname, ways you look at certain things, and then you get a million different perspectives. And I think that is so great, whether things change or they don't change, even just knowing that there are 100 different ways of viewing the thing that you just thought there was one way. I think that is the brilliance of the faculty, the students, and the people at ISDM. So timings are, I wouldn't like, yeah, there are timings, of course, but it'll be great.
Thank you, Alika.
Even I would like to add, in fact, we used to have, I'm from the second batch, and we used to have one Saturday off every month, and everyone in the batch were looking forward to that particular weekend, where you can kind of chill or maybe party. But on Wednesday or Thursday, you used to get an assignment that you need to submit on Sunday midnight, like 11:59 p.m. So everyone used to be like, okay, now Saturday and Sunday is gone. Everyone used to just plan for conducting meetings. We had like context-based learning group this year. You're going to have, but we used to have PBL, where we had around 6 to 7 people in one group, and we used to fix up meetings. We used to sit in particular room and to discuss a lot about uh, the assignment and all. So weekend is totally gone also. So just prepare yourself that 1 year you have to just totally involve yourself in maximum learning and exposure that you're going to get from the diverse batch.
Great. Thank you, Sarvesh. Thank you, Alika. There's a question on, is the faculty strict? So I think the question is not really limited to that, but also one must talk about the relationships or the bondings we've built with the faculty, and how our faculty bricoliers have looked different in terms of the capacity and the work they've done. So would someone just like to talk about that?
Sure, I'll go.
Yes, David.
So you have two types of faculty at ISDM. You have visiting faculty, which would usually be a specialization in a particular field. And then not, it's usually what you'd call a practitioner faculty. So if someone's coming in and talking about rural development in the area of malnutrition, it would be someone that's not only studied or done research in that area, but usually also someone that's practiced and seen success towards that. So you would hear from a lot of people like that, and that's what I refer to as visiting faculty. But then along with that, you have in-house faculty at ISDM, and they're more of what you would call a facilitator, where they'd help you facilitate the learnings from your groups, from the sessions, and they will also conduct some sessions themselves at certain key aspects of the course. And so it'll usually be a mix of both. When I was in the first batch, I don't know if it's changed a lot now, but in the first batch, we usually, in an average week of 5 or 6 days of class, we would have one day where we'd do group work. We'd have about 4 days where we'd have sessions, and we'd have one day where we would have kind of reflect and summarize all the things we've learned for that. So that's kind of the faculty setup.
Thank you, David. I'd just like to add that over the years, it has grown to having bricoliers, what David referred to as facilitators. And they're the people who are with you in class while you're learning and help you make meaning of whatever the faculty is sharing with you. We'll also have a lot of academicians this year who will be from institutions all across the world. That's a evolution or change for the curriculum coming up this year. In terms of questions, that's what we have right now. We just love to for the.
I think Priyanka, there is one more question, which is
sure, Adil.
What about attendance? And then there's another question.
Sorry,
what about attendance with 2 question marks? So yeah, they're really concerned about. So would someone like to take that up?
Yeah. Nobody wants to talk about attendance. Adil, why don't you share your view of the attendance?
No, attendance is very important. We expect everyone to attend all classes. So that's our official view. So that's why I asked the students for the unofficial view.
I can share my not view, but what is really what happens at ISDM and happened during our batch, and would love for others to share as well. The program at ISDM is such that it's not about, okay, I have 80% attendance and that's great, because you're missing 20%, and that's huge. Because every day, and I'm talking from my own experience from the first year, there's something new that's happening in class every day. In fact, every session. It's not just about some books that you read. We actually don't follow books or read books here. And it's just about learning from each other's experiences, stories, case studies, people who are coming and talking and teaching. And it's not even like you can just follow a PPT later by missing the class. And therefore, that's the view around attendance and belief that we follow. It's not really bound by a number. Uh, of course, we've had discipline around there is a need to be at 80%, 85%, but that really doesn't matter, because what I personally believe is people who come to ISDM come here really to learn and not to get a particular number on the attendance, because then again, we don't even have exams or a report card or results and stuff like that. So that's all of that is kept aside. It's really about your own personal journey and learning. So nobody really talks about attendance here. But if anybody else wants to add their view of attendance.
So I think there was, like Priyanka said, there was no official like attendance, like requirement or stuff that we had to meet. But we did as individuals realize that if we were missing from class, unless it was really genuine, where of course we would get a recording or our peers would record the session, we would of course get the PowerPoint, get the resources, you were still missing out on that crucial element of the classroom discussion with that ensued in class. So that no matter what, you couldn't kind of make up for, and it was really difficult to get the whole lowdown. So as much as possible, everyone was in class, and no matter what the timings were and stuff, because you really realize that you took away maximum if you were in class for all of that. But of course, in genuine circumstances, like whatever, certain commitments and stuff, yes, there were certain days or certain classes which you couldn't attend. And I mean, it was understandable, and I think the support system ensured that they would try to help you make up for that missing of a class or missing on that certain knowledge piece as much as possible. So you did have that peer support. So I think that was great, that perfect mix. But we had a system, at least in the first batch, where we went in and we had to sign ourselves against our name, which is P for present or A for absent. And I think just that whole, there was a lot of trust to individual students that you would be very honest with yourselves and with the class, because that wasn't counted as present or absent or percentage or nothing like that. But it was just a sense of like self-discipline and being honest with yourself as to, are you there on time? Are you attending classes? But that's about it. I think the whole thing is just about being more honest with yourself and being more respectful of the faculty and your classmates as well, because you not being in class takes away from their learning as well. Because what if you jumped in and had something super interesting to share? So if you're not in class, you're also taking away from other people's learning. And I think that personal sense of responsibility is something that was stressed more upon, rather than the draconian, you have to be in class, which I think as a student, that was more meaningful for me. And I'm sure my classmates would agree as well.
Great. Thank you, Alika, and definitely agree with what you're saying. There are a couple of more questions around what's happening at ISDM at the institutional level in terms of the date for commencement of the next year's program, more about the bricolage. So I'm cognizant of time and would also like to share with everyone here that we have a town hall with the faculty and founders coming up on Saturday at 5:30. Do attend to know more about what's happening with the program and those details, and you'll get a lot of information and answers to a lot of your questions there. And we'll share more information about that particular town hall webinar very, very soon over email and a link to join that. We're on time, we're at 8, so maybe request just one or two of you to share a closing message with everybody who's present here, and then we'll close up. Just one or two of you all. David? I see you want to say something.
Yeah, no, why not? I don't know. I think if you're on the fence, so if I remember when I had applied to ISDM, it was very nascent. It was the first batch, um, and I went for a similar session like this. It wasn't online; it was in person. But I think after attending and interacting with people, it made me a lot more comfortable. If you are on the fence and you want to talk further, feel free to reach out online to any of us. Just go on LinkedIn and you'll be able to see the students of ISDM, and then just reach out on Facebook. But yeah, I think looking back, it's been 2 years since I graduated. Someone mentioned about assessments and why we don't do assessments. ISDM is more of an experience than an educational certificate. You learn a lot through the experience. We're making practitioners, and you'll see that experience impact your career ahead. So 2 years looking back now in my job, now actually on the field working in the development sector, you'll see that experience make a huge difference. You'll see the things that you learned, some things that you remember, certain turning points and pivotal moments in class impact you a lot. You might not remember whether you should have got these many marks in your certificate and what your project was like and whether you stayed up the whole night to do it. But going forward in your job, it will impact you. I promise you that. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you, David. Anyone else?
I definitely feel that as the ISDM family and community is growing, it is so heartwarming that in so many institutions, so many organizations and stuff, ISDM is known. And we almost have like a student, from every state or from every kind of organization that the social sector has to offer. And that is, for me, that's so reassuring and reaffirming at the same time, because if I need to reach out for anything, probably I remember we did it in class or we didn't, I could always reach out to someone through this circle of strength. And I think being a part of this circle of strength is more meaningful, like David said, than the certificate itself or the marks or the exams or the assessments that we had, however unique they were. So I think even today through our WhatsApp groups and stuff, one of my most active WhatsApp groups is the ISDM chat. So if I'm even doing an impact evaluation at work, I need a second thought or a particular tool that I want to look back to, I just write on that chat and someone will answer and someone will respond. And, in minutes, Nitisha will give me resources, Priyanka will give me a contact or two. It is just that everyone is a call away. And I think that is the special thing, that no matter, okay, we studied together 4 years ago, maybe we didn't attend an alumni meetup, we haven't spoken, that doesn't matter. I think the fact that we all were a part of the ISDM family, are a part of the ISDM family, experience certain things together, I think that's something that all of us hold far above a lot of the other things. And that makes me feel like a stronger professional and a stronger practitioner in this space. So I would definitely say, if not for anything else, to be a part of this circle of strength, and you should do it.
Great, thank you, Alika. I think that's a great note to close out today's evening chat. So yes, thank you very much, all the panelists, our dear alumni and students, for joining us today over this chat, and all the attendees for joining us again. Just again, we have a town hall coming up this Saturday for more detailed questions about what's happening at the institutional level, more about the curriculum, bricolage, etc. Do join us. We'll share more details with you. So
Priyanka,
thank you
just
so
want
much.
to add here, Priyanka,
Yes,
just want to add, because there are a lot of our enrolled students for the next batch who are here, and a lot of questions are coming up, about starting date, quarantine hai, nahi hai, do we come before, what time do we come? So all of this we will discuss on Saturday's town hall. So these are, I think that is a better platform for all of us to discuss all this, because the leadership of ISDM is going to be in that town hall. So don't worry that we haven't answered your questions. Please do join us on Saturday for that town hall, and we will together solve these problems.
Thank you, Adil. And thank you, everyone, once again. Good night and take care.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe.